Hey guys, alright? Welcome everyone. A group of motorcyclists was riding through the jungle when, unexpectedly, they came across an old rusty truck. Curious, they approached to take a closer look, unaware of the danger that awaited them. The truck belongs to none other than the most terrifying creeper in America. Recklessly, a young man starts marking his territory. Luke picks up a stone and throws it with all his strength at the truck's windshield. To his surprise, the seemingly fragile glass is incredibly resilient, and the rebound stone hits his own head. Meanwhile, Kirk, after fiddling a bit, accidentally opens the truck's cargo door. What they find inside sends chills down their spines. The outline of a white bag unmistakably reveals a human body. Cautiously, Kirk steps forward to confirm, and the stench of rotting flesh hits him like a ton of bricks. But as soon as he turns, the truck's trap is automatically triggered, making them shrink back in fear. The cargo door closes by itself, and realizing the danger, they bolt. They didn't even have time to put on their helmets, but causing trouble and then trying to escape is never that easy. Suddenly, a tube shoots out from the back of the truck. A harpoon with an attached rope is fired with tremendous speed, hitting Kirk in the calf with precision. Fortunately, the three remaining friends are just and do not leave Kirk to flee alone. However, as is typical in such desolate areas, there is no signal to call for help. They can only try to help each other. But the harpoon is deeply embedded in Kirk's calf, impossible to pull out. Things get worse when the rope begins to slowly retract, dragging Kirk backward. The three friends are at a loss for what to do. The selfish Red chooses to flee, while the other two can only stand by, helplessly watching Kirk being pulled toward the back of the truck. Terrified, Kirk begs his friends to try to call for help again, but just as his companion takes out the phone, a sudden noise comes from above, followed by a body falling from the sky. Before they can react to what is happening, a tall humanoid monster lands on the roof of the truck, flapping its wings. It's the creeper, back from its hunt. The two friends, horrified by this sight, abandon Kirk and run for their lives. The creeper leaps to the ground, stoic, opens the back compartment door of the truck with a touch, raises its right hand, and a spear automatically flies into the creeper's hand. The creature aims at the fleeing friends and, in an instant, the harpoon pierces their bodies, pinning them to a tree like skewers. After a few gasps, they become completely still. With its task accomplished, the creeper retracts its weapon and is about to leave to find its next target when it suddenly catches a strong smell. It's the recent work of Red, which enrages the creeper. With its keen sense of smell, the creeper immediately heads toward the direction where Red fled. Once the creeper fixates on its target, almost no one can escape. The creeper awakens every 23 years and enters a 23-day feeding frenzy. Not only does it possess supernatural immortality, but it can also heal its wounds by consuming humans. The extraordinary sense of smell of the creeper allows it to detect the aroma of fear that emanates from its prey and relentlessly pursue them, no matter where they hide. Later, the police open the truck door and discover several bodies inside. This dilapidated truck is like a mobile slaughterhouse, filled with macabre human remains transformed into horrific souvenirs, sending chills down the officers' spines. An officer sticks his head into the truck's cargo area to investigate, unaware that the truck's trap has already been triggered, and his screams echo through the precinct. The mechanism inside the truck instantly severs one of the officer's arms. No one expected the dilapidated truck to be equipped with such sophisticated traps. They can't even move the bodies out of the truck, leaving Sheriff David furious and powerless. At that moment, more police cars slowly arrive. It turns out that the government formed a special demon hunting squad to capture the creeper. Leading the team is its Captain Dan. He encountered the creeper during its last appearance 23 years ago, which is why he was designated to handle this case. But while the two were discussing the case, some officers trying to open the truck triggered another trap, almost killing Dan. This near tragedy left everyone shaken. After facing danger again, they dared not touch the truck. After things calmed down, David took Dan aside and informed him that this time, the creeper's wrath resulted in the death of 3 officers and a prisoner, as well as the abduction of a civilian. But in just a few minutes, some officers rush to report that the truck has already been towed. Dan curses furiously because, based on his experience, he knows that the creeper will definitely retrieve its beloved truck. This means that the tow truck driver is in serious danger. As they contact Officer Dana and the tow truck driver Frank over the radio, the creeper silently appears in the tow truck with an axe in hand. The creature cuts the chains and, when Frank stops the truck, the creeper's vehicle has already slid off the tow truck. Confused, Dana and Frank quickly get out to investigate, only to see the creeper standing on top of its truck, staring intently at them. To their surprise, the truck can drive itself. The creeper, having achieved its goal, gave a smug smile and left, opting not to harm Dana and Frank. But just when Dana and Frank think they have escaped danger, they see the creeper's truck coming back. Such a creature picked up the scent of fear, and its favorite prey is the one wrapped in terror, and the terrified person is Frank. The truck stops not far away, but the creeper is nowhere to be seen. As they look around, the creeper suddenly descends from above, grabs Frank, and throws him to the ground. Dana quickly points her gun at the creeper, but the creeper makes a contemptuous gesture. Dana knows she is no match for such a threat and that her gun is useless against it. She can only watch, helplessly, as the creeper takes Frank away. When Dan and David arrive hurriedly, they find Dana devastated and powerless, curled up in the driver's seat. Meanwhile, at dawn, a crow lands in front of a wooden cabin. A frail old woman slowly steps out, looking ahead beneath the tree. A figure waves to her. Galen's expression is sad because the man is her deceased son, Kenny. It turns out that during the creeper's last appearance, 23 years ago, Kenny witnessed the creeper abducting a man. Terrified, Kenny stepped out of the car to investigate, only to see a machete fall onto the hood, followed by a severed hand from the creeper falling from the sky. Curious, Kenny took the still-moving hand home and hid it in the barn, without telling his mother. But the horses, sensing the evil aura of the hand, rushed out of the barn in search of safety. Kenny buried the hand under the large tree in front of the house, but in the end, Kenny could not escape the creeper's hunt because he had touched the severed hand. Now, with the creeper reappearing in town, it is likely that he has come to reclaim his hand. The entire town would become the hunting ground for that evil. Kenny's spirit tells his mother to take her granddaughter Addison and leave immediately or they will become the next targets of the creeper. This scene is witnessed by Addison, who has just woken up, but she is no longer surprised. Since her father left, her grandmother has been acting this way. Addison's only companion is her pet horse. She wanted to ask her grandmother for money to buy hay for the horse, but they have no income and are in debt. Recalling her son's warning, Galen finds an excuse to send Addison to a friend's house for a few days. She plans to confront the creeper alone. But Addison does not listen to her grandmother. She is more worried about her horse running out of hay, so she went to the feed store, hoping to buy a little hay on credit. However, as they already owed a lot of money, the owner refused the request this time. With no other choice, Addison decided to leave. The owner's son, Buddy, noticed Addison's situation. Buddy, who secretly liked the girl, decided to help. Without his father's permission, he brought several bales of hay to Addison's farm for free. Although Addison was a bit embarrassed, she gladly accepted the hay to prevent her horse from starving. She promised that she would pay Buddy back when she had the money. Later, Addison accompanied Buddy to the neighboring field to deliver the feed, where they stumbled upon a strange scene. Several horses, frightened, had fled the pen, and the farm workers were nowhere to be found. When Buddy went out to investigate, he found the farm owner trembling. Two workers were hiding beneath a nearby tank. They seemed to have encountered something terrifying. The farm owner insisted that Buddy call the police immediately. As Buddy returned to the car and was about to make the call, a bloodied man suddenly appeared at the window, startling them. Before they could recover from the shock, another dark figure loomed overhead. It was the creeper, landing beside the tank to attack the workers hiding underneath. Seeing the tank being overturned by tremendous force, they realized the creeper was behind them. The creature noticed them and released the workers, seeming more interested in the prey inside the car. When they looked up again, the creeper had vanished. Buddy tried to start the truck to leave, but it wouldn't start. Suddenly, the creeper appeared outside, eyes closed, sniffing for the scent of fear. It showed no interest in Buddy but focused on Addison sitting next to him. The creeper immediately flew over to Addison's side and used its hand to wipe away the blood on the car window. Its strange nose flared as it sniffed. After confirming that Addison was the prey it wanted, the creeper let out an excited roar, shattering the glass. It then smashed the truck window with a single punch, easily flipped the truck, and grabbed Addison. By the time Buddy realized what had happened, they were gone. The creeper didn't eat Addison right away after dragging her into the truck. Instead, it chose to continue hunting, giving Addison a chance to survive. When Addison untied herself, she saw Kirk, the boy who had been injured by the truck's harpoon, inside the cargo area. Since they were from the same town, they recognized each other. They planned to escape before the creeper returned, knowing there was a trap at the back. Kirk decided to exit through the front, but he didn't realize there was also a trap on the passenger side. As soon as Kirk touched the door handle, a steel pike shot out, killing him instantly. Terrified, Addison stayed put, not daring to move. Meanwhile, at the farm, Galen was determined to find out what had happened to her son. Ignoring her spirit's warning, she dug up the severed hand. Galen carefully placed the hand on the table, noticing it was still moving. After a brief hesitation, Galen slowly reached out to touch the hand. The hand grabbed Galen's and lifted her into the air. Galen's eyes whitened, and she fainted as her body convulsed violently. At the same time, Dan and David began gathering their team to hunt down the creeper. Team member Michael arrived with a modified pickup truck. Mounted on it was a 20mm Vulcan Gatling gun, capable of firing 6,000 rounds per minute. Michael was confident this weapon could defeat the creeper. Just as the team finished assembling and prepared to search for the creeper, Galen, who had regained consciousness, called Dan and David over. When Galen touched the severed hand, she learned the creeper's secret, understanding what it was and how it came to be. But Galen refused to speak, and Dan and David didn't press her for answers. Determined to uncover the creeper's secret and find its weakness, Dan insisted on touching the severed hand himself. No matter how much David tried to dissuade him, it was no use. With Galen's guidance, Dan slowly extended his right hand. The moment Dan was grabbed by the hand, he instantly lost consciousness. But with the team's help, Dan didn't lift into the air. Instead, he fell to the ground convulsing, his eyes turning white. Shortly after, Dan awoke from his trance, visibly shaken by whatever he had seen. However, when David questioned him, Dan remained silent. Just then, Michael received an alert about an overturned car on Highway 9, suspected to be the work of the creeper. Upon hearing this, Dan decided to launch a planned attack to eliminate the creeper. This time, Michael headed out first, with Dan and David following closely behind. Soon they spotted the creeper's truck on Highway 9. Enraged, David took aim at the truck's tires with a sniper rifle and fired. To his surprise, the tires were bulletproof and the shots ricocheted back. David then aimed at the truck's body, but the results were the same. The creeper retaliated by tossing a bomb, which Dan narrowly avoided by swerving the car. However, the bomb had a tracking system and returned. In the next second, fortunately, David's precise aim allowed him to shoot and detonate the bomb. At this moment, Michael arrived from the other side, ready to take down the creeper with his Vulcan Gatling gun. Seeing this, Dan felt a surge of dread and quickly radioed Michael, urging him not to fire. They knew the bullets would be ineffective and would rebound all attacks, but Michael didn't hear Dan's warning, and the Gatling gun started firing. As expected, the bullets bounced back, killing Michael and the driver instantly. A bomb was then thrown, sending the pickup truck flying. Another bomb was hurled at Dan and David, and this time they couldn't dodge it, also getting blown into the air. Luckily, they only sustained minor injuries, but the creeper, driving its truck, followed them, stopping nearby and honking the horn maniacally to taunt them. David, holding his shotgun, stepped out of the car, ready for a final showdown with the creeper. Dan, who came up behind him, told David to stay calm and not let the creeper smell his fear, or he would surely die. Seeing Michael's pickup truck nearby, Dan decided they should split up. He would go start the Gatling gun while David provided cover fire. When David turned around, Dan had already disappeared. The creeper, wielding an axe, was advancing step by step. David fired his rifle, but the creeper effortlessly blocked the shot with his axe. David stood and fired another shot, knocking off the creeper's hat. The creeper was enraged, and as David prepared to fire a third shot, it threw a dart. The dart precisely hit and damaged David's rifle barrel, leaving him with only his handgun for a final stand. As the creeper was about to strike David down, Dan finally reached the Gatling gun and called out to draw the creeper's attention, but the gun barrel was jammed. The creeper, now charging at Dan with its axe, spread its wings and took to the air. In that instant, Dan felt his fate was sealed. In a critical moment, Dan used all his strength to unjam the Gatling gun and aimed at the flying creeper. Bullets rained down, riddling the creeper's body, but even the 20mm rounds had no effect, and the creeper pounced on him from a distance. David watched as the creeper decapitated Dan with its axe, leaving David no choice but to flee. As night fell, Galen knew the creeper was coming. She grabbed her shotgun, ready for a final battle. Outside, headlights appeared, and Galen thought it was the creeper, but upon opening the door, she found Buddy, who informed her that her granddaughter Addison had been taken by the creeper. Meanwhile, trapped in the truck's cargo area, Addison suddenly heard noises outside and quickly hid under a white sheet, pretending to be dead. The injured creeper returned, tore off the sheet, and grabbed Addison, preparing to eat her. As the creeper turned to grab a knife, Addison seized the moment to back away and hide. When the creeper pinned Addison down, she cleverly triggered the trap on the passenger seat, which impaled the creeper's head. The creeper let out a horrific howl, even losing an eyeball. Seizing the opportunity, Addison broke free, leaping to avoid the trap and jumping out of the truck. She got up and started running. The creeper tried to chase after her but fell to the ground. It turned out that Dan had used the Gatling gun to shoot off one of its wings. Getting up, the creeper threw a dart, but Addison stumbled over a rock, causing the dart to miss her by inches. Enraged, the creeper turned to grab a harpoon. With only one eye, it struggled to aim as its prey got farther away. The creeper hurled the harpoon with all its might. It missed, only catching Addison's jacket. She fell to the ground. The creeper, wielding its axe, charged at her. Just as the creeper was about to grab Addison, an oncoming truck saved her life by ramming the creeper away. Addison got up and ran without looking back. For the first time, the creeper, who had killed so many, found itself in a pitiful state. It vented its fury on the truck driver, using the kill to heal its injuries. The creeper then drove to Addison's home to retrieve its severed hand. It found the hand on the ground, left by Galen, along with a taunting message, "I know what you are." Enraged, the creeper crushed the hand into powder, letting out a beastly roar into the night sky. With its 23-day feeding window nearing its end, it had to abandon its current prey and go for a bigger target before entering its 23-year hibernation. Meanwhile, Addison, who had narrowly escaped, was finally rescued by Buddy and her grandmother. Buddy got to embrace his crush, but just as they confirmed their relationship, they had to part. The next morning, Buddy, a school basketball player, was heading off with the team for a game. Little did he know he would never return, because the students on that school bus were the creeper's next targets, just as we saw in the previous film.